We're back with Barb Schlinker of Your Home's Old Guaranteed Realty and the real estate voice. Barb, I've recommended you and your team for years. So, what are some of the top agent hiring mistakes that some would be sellers should absolutely avoid?
Well, Richard, it's really interesting how people decide on who's going to handle the sale. A lot of people will go off a referral, and you have referred me a lot of business, and I'm very grateful for it. Some people just work with whoever they worked with before. I would say that comprises about half of the agents out there. And the truth is, not all real estate agents are the same. What do I mean by that? There is no job description for real estate agents. There is no, this is your job and this is my job. It doesn't exist. And so it's everybody has a different approach to how we handle people's largest assets. And really picking the wrong agent can cost a home seller thousands. What I mean by that, right now, we have a market that's correcting slightly. It's not radical. It's not the end of the world. I think if the rates come down a little bit more, it might bring the buyers out of the woodwork again. But at the end of the day, if you're on the market or planning to go on the market right now, the best solution is to make sure you get this right. Because if you don't, and you make all those mistakes, time costs you money. Houses sitting on the market that are overpriced cost you money over time. And according to the National Association of Realtors, most people only talk to one real estate agent, and that's fine if you're satisfied with who you met with. And usually it's the person that sold them the home. But the question is that the right person for you? Do they have the right marketing strategy? Do they understand the market? Do they understand pricing? And what most agents unfortunately do is most of them have gotten better about taking professional photos of homes. I don't see too many iPhone pictures anymore, although they're still out there. And so they post it and they just hope another agent has a buyer. That's not really selling. And the actual statistics are kind of awful. In Pikes Peak region alone, there's 5,400 real estate agents. There's one on every corner. And unfortunately, over 81% of them sell three or less homes a year. And so how do they know what's working or not? How do they know whether or not a home is priced right or how to approach pricing a home if they're not really studying the market? Now, they could be studying the market and just not selling very much, and that's okay. But if you don't ask the right questions when you interview agents, it can really hurt you and cost you a lot of money. Little things like bad marketing, incorrect pricing. I had one that I took over from an agent that the first words in her description, Richard, were there's a structural report available. Now, what would that conjure up in your mind as you were reading that?
I guess I would be wondering, is there a problem here? Because is it normal to have a report like that?
No, it's not normal. It's not normal. It just sort of markets that they have structural problems. I'm like, she's not thinking. So, and it was an older house. Yeah, okay, it had a few little cracks, but it wasn't falling down. But she highlighted that problem. And so I think a lot of people don't really study marketing and how to get the most attraction. The whole idea behind marketing and what you're putting online is to attract the buyers. Since the first showing is online, you got to get them past that door, which is, do I want to come see this house? Right. And so that's number one. And then the house will speak for itself. And so basically, we've got a report that we're offering home sellers. They can go to my website, barbhasthebuyers.com, and look for the report about 10 questions you should ask an agent. And here are some of the questions. What is your successful percentage of selling homes? What's the average amount of time that your houses are sitting on the market before they sell? Now, some of that is not in the agent's control. There are some home sellers that stick to their price and they will wait and wait and wait until they get it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Another really good question is, can you cancel your agreement with that seller if it's not satisfied, or do you have to wait for the time to expire? You need to make sure you have clear answers on those questions. And asking the right questions will help you make those decisions and make sure that you're picking the right person. And you got to be really, really careful with going with an agent that promises you the highest price. I was recently in a home, and before I went there, the seller said, "Oh, she talked to another agent, and he said my house is worth this much." And there's no way. I'm sorry, but even if it was perfect, there was no way that that home was worth that much, right? So there are some agents out there that will promise you the moon just to get you to sign on the dotted line. And then they let other agents or the lack of showings um, tell the story of, oh no, it's priced too high. No, it's not going to work. And so they make the other agents the bad guy, right? And there is also on the seller side that kind of school of thought that, well, why can't I just price high? I can always lower the price. And I get that. But the problem is because all the homes are online right now, because they can see what has sold all around you. Zillow has a very graphic map that they put up around homes that they will show you that. You can tell right away if it's price. Buyers can tell right away if it's overpriced, especially if they're finding things that are better for them in that price range. So you have to be very careful. It's okay to test the market just for a short period of time, but you have to be very aggressive in your corrections to get a buyer. Because if you do it slowly, studies show that you will actually net less money. Um, and it's sad to say, but there's a huge turnover in the real estate industry because I think the industry is kind of bad at teaching agents things that the public thinks that they should know. Things like marketing, negotiating, handling objections, providing great customer service, and then getting the deal to the finish line. They just don't teach that. It's not in the job description. It's certainly not in the real estate schools. The only thing the real estate schools do is teach you how to pass the test, and then maybe they'll bring in somebody that tells you to go knock on doors to get business, which I would never do that. I will admit, early in my career, my old broker told me to pick up the phone book and cold call people. Could you imagine, Richard, doing
I've
that?
heard that in a lot of different businesses, including mine. It just never seems like it works. And we're trying to get experience and do the very best. I mean, do you talk to several agents when people should be doing this to compare, or just one at a time?
Well, I don't, yeah, I don't know. Um, I don't know what other agents do because I don't get to look over their shoulder when they're in front of a seller. But just feedback from the sellers that I'm hearing, most of them just show up with comps and go, okay, your house is worth this much. I need to sign here to get started. It's very simple. It's not sophisticated. And they're not able to deliver in a graphical way absolute value, right? To get the seller to sign on the bottom line. Now, the same thing is happening with buyers. Buyers are running towards listing agents instead of hiring their own agents to show homes because they're concerned after this NAR change that they're going to have to come out of pocket to pay their agent. And so then they're asking, so what do you do for me? And how much does that cost? And it's making them think twice. And so it happens on both sides, buyer and seller. And if the agents, our team does, but if the agent doesn't have a Batman toolbox of things to show them how they deliver absolute value to the customer won't sign on for it. And as the market shifts right now, we've got new inventory up by over 34%. Pending sales are down by 11% as compared to a year ago. Something's going to give, right? Even though it says the average price is up, I don't really buy that. I think it's just a snapshot in time, only because I can tell that more than almost 60% of home sellers every month are lowering their price. So you have to get everything right when you go on the market, and you have to hire the team that knows how to get everything right. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty Colorado. Barb has the buyer's team, and we're talking about why you should be very careful about interviewing agents, why a lot of agents don't get past the fifth year. And next up, we're going to be talking about some hiring mistakes and some great questions that you can ask agents while you're interviewing them to handle one of your largest assets. And if you'd like to download it, we have a great free report up on my website about this called barbhasthebuyers.com. It's the 10 questions you should ask before you hire a real estate agent. Go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on the green button free report to find it, or give us a call, 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program and Your Real Estate Voice. She's with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, the owner, the broker, and you can reach her at 719-301-3900. And we're talking about how a home seller can go about choosing the best real estate agent for them. Barb, what are some top agent hiring mistakes that home sellers often make?
Well, here's the thing. We're in a situation where the market clearly is changing. I've given you empirical data on why higher inventory, fewer sales, more people lowering their price. Um, and I don't know that every agent studies that, right? So picking the wrong agent, they might just look at historic sales and go, oh, well, that one sold for this much. Yours should sell for this much. Yeah, price it here. And then when it fails, do they know what to do in the face of a market change or not? That's a really good question. And this free report will give you a full list of some questions that you should ask. But I'm just going to give you a few right now that might be worth jotting down. One of them is, why should I list with you over other choices? That's a hard question. The second one is, do you have buyers that would be interested in my home? And then another really good question is, what happens if I'm not happy with the job that you're doing? Can I cancel? Will that cost me any money? Those three questions are pretty good questions to ask an agent. And if they don't have a good answer for you, keep looking, think about it, take your time. There's no rush, you know. Make the timing work for you and make sure you plan it well. My name is Barb Schlinker. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com to find out more. We'd love to be one of those agents that you interview. And you can click on pretty much anything on our website or call us, and we'd love to help you. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach her at 719-301-3900. And Barb is the only agent I would ever recommend if you're thinking of making a move. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be covering what is the best day of the week to reduce the price of your house right here in Colorado. You want to hear that.